Okay, if you can take your seat, Julia Carlson is going to start now. Julia is, again, the CEO and Wealth Advisor for Financial Freedom Wealth Management Group.
It's a mouthful. Thank you. So I have been part of the community for about almost 21 years. And I started in a local bank and then started my own financial planning, and it's turned into more of actually wealth management. And I have become very fascinated with the tax code. And so even though I am not an accountant, not a CPA, it is something that I understand a lot about. So all the IRAs and the retirement accounts, and I do a lot of planning around that. So death and taxes, right? Those are the two guarantees in life. That's the joke, the two guarantees. And it's also the subject that everyone does not want to talk about. And I think it's because most of the time they may feel like it's just kind of out of their control, which it is, right? But there are some things that we can do that are proactive, and I just love to use that word proactive, because with both taxes and with creating your estate plan, your legacy, it's something very easy to procrastinate with, put off, not think about, but it's something very, very important. It seems like I've developed a niche in working with widows, and I've had widows just in the past 6 months, some that have come in that have an estate plan that is put together and they're going to be okay, and I can just help them walk through that process. Where others have had no will, kids from previous marriages, the exact thing that Brian talked about, where now they own 50% of everything with the minor children of another marriage, and oh, by the way, who are the court's going to appoint in charge, right, of those children. So I sit with horror stories, and I just have to urge you for, like he said, when this matters, you're not around. But it does make a difference when there is a plan in place and there's something to follow for your loved ones. And I would just urge you to take the time now to create the plan. So that being said, I thought it'd be fun to give you some just proactive tips or some thoughts. So one thing that we work a lot with is retirement planning and distribution planning. So does anyone know what happened with your retirement accounts at age 70 and a half? Yes, required minimum distribution. And it seems like no one wants to do, because they've gone along in life not counting on this income, this is money that's in a retirement account, and if you take money out of a retirement account, if it's not a Roth IRA, you have to pay taxes. So typically,
Oh, I am so sorry.
I see people wait as long as possible to take these distributions simply because they don't need the income, right? Nor do they want to pay the taxes. So if you're in that situation where you have to take required minimum distributions, which happens again at 70 and a half, and it's all of your IRAs. So if you have IRAs at banks, brokerages, all of that, you have to look at all of it and decide what you have to take out as your required minimum distribution. And if you don't take it out, does anyone know the penalty? 50%. So if your RMD, your required minimum distribution, was $10,000 and you missed a year, it would be $5,000 penalty. So pretty steep. So if you don't want to take it out, what is an option? Well, there's something that was put into place last year called a qualified charitable distribution. So what that means is, instead of you receiving your required minimum distribution and paying taxes on it, you can send it directly to your favorite nonprofit, okay, or charitable. And that does not even show up then on your tax return. Where before, you may get your required minimum distribution and then give it as a charitable, as a contribution. But if you don't itemize on your taxes, then you don't get the benefit of that deduction. So that's a way around that RMD that it is now permanent. Another thing is on your retirement accounts, if charitable giving is in your estate plan, your legacy, I would encourage you to think about leaving a portion of your retirement account, or if you have an annuity, this is also something that you can list as a beneficiary. So, for example, if let's say you had 3 children and you wanted to leave some money to a nonprofit, you could leave a quarter to each of your children and then a quarter to the nonprofit. And the reason why I say retirement money is why, again? Anybody have any ideas?
Taxes.
Taxes, yes. So what that means is, no matter what the estate tax is, if I inherit an IRA from my parents, when I get that money, it's 100% taxable to me. Now I can choose to do some smart things with that, like stretch it out and take distributions over my lifetime. So there's some things I can do to manage that tax liability, but ultimately the money coming out of that, I'm going to pay taxes, okay? Because it's never been taxed. So that is the right type of account to leave to a nonprofit if that is a request in your legacy. Okay, so as I'm coaching my mom and dad, I would rather have their appreciated stock or cash in the bank as opposed to the IRA, because that money over here is not going to be taxable. That make sense?
Yeah.
Yes. Good question?
What if it's a life insurance policy and it was designated to you?
So a life insurance, you will receive tax-free as long as it's falling under the federal and state estate tax limit with the overall estate.
Actually, for the RMDs, aren't there some new, I don't want to say, it's not like I don't want to say insurance, but aren't there some new products that also would allow you to circumvent some taxes on the state?
So there is a longevity IRA that's come out that I don't know a lot about, but that may be what you've heard about, where you're allowed to take a certain amount of your IRA and say, okay, this is earmarked for longevity, right? Because people are living longer. And so I don't know, does that sound like what you're talking about?
Yeah, sure. Something legacy when you said it's a matter of time.
Yeah. So the other point about the Roth IRA, if you have a Roth IRA, that is the money that comes out of Roth is not taxable. Okay, so that's usually something that you want to leave as a legacy, kind of the last thing to touch, because that will pass on tax-free. Another thing that as Brian was talking about, assets that are if you have assets in a bank, if you have a trust, they should be titled in a trust. I see that very commonly where assets are not titled properly. They have a trust, but the bank accounts are all individually owned. So if you don't have a trust, we use something called a transfer on death or a payable on death, which gets the money, the cash, to the person you want it to, without avoiding that probate process. That being said, if you have a very comprehensive estate plan, that is simple. That may or may not be a good solution based on what Brian was saying. I think the key thing is, once you have a plan, you want to make sure that you don't keep changing it. It's like investments, right? Yeah, you don't want to keep changing all your investments because you just start chasing your plan, right? I'm not going to tell that joke. It's going to come out wrong. Okay, let's see. Is there any business owners? Yeah? Okay. So if you have a business and there's value in your business, that is something to think about your exit plan or your estate plan for your business. So that is a whole separate planning talk, but that's something that I see that's often overlooked. Like there's no succession plan or legacy plan for your business. And so we helped, I'm just going to kind of throw a case study out. We helped a man that had some highly appreciated real estate that he owned the businesses on these real estate. And he and his wife were very charitable, and they were not going to use this. They were ready to kind of diverse themselves of their business. And we actually set up with a team, not me, but with a team, what's called a charitable remainder trust. And what that is, you can put highly appreciated assets into the trust. So you're putting that into an irrevocable, meaning no changes. Once you set this up, you cannot make changes. And he was able to put the assets into the trust, sell the assets, and then he was able to live on some of that income while they lived, and then ultimately that will go to the charity at the end. And so he did not have to, there's some great tax benefits for him doing that. So that was an idea. If you have very high appreciative, maybe land or a business, and there's some real charity interest, that is something to think about. It's pretty complex. So the last point I wanted to make, and by the way, Ursula made a great printout that has some of the strategies that I've talked about as a reference. But I want to say, work with a team of professionals. A lot of my job is to work with my clients, to give them ideas, to give them things to think about when they're creating their plan. But then I have to team up with someone like Brian and a CPA that helps put this all together, right? So you want to work with a team of professionals that all have your best interests and that know what the plan is. So the communication between the team members is super vital. So we can make sure that we can carry that out. Most of the time, when someone passes away, the beneficiaries are the ones that are in my office and say, okay, what do mom and dad want? And so if those have not been communicated, it's a hard conversation. And so again, I would walk away with tonight is be proactive, communicate your plan. We do something called a legacy lunch with our clients where they are ready to talk to the next generation. A lot of times you probably shouldn't be the one talking to them about a lot of this. Usually it's helpful to have a third party come in and really have them help coach you through that conversation with your loved ones. And so we find that has been beneficial as well. So, all right, any questions?